Now, if you pause to read anything I just flashed on screen there, you're probably left wondering if course 3 is something you should be worried about. I can guarantee you by the end of this video, those thoughts and feelings will be gone. Hi, my name is Mason, and I recently just passed my Course 3 exam, and since then I've taken the time to read through a lot of opinions on a Humber study group page with over 8,000 students in it, and it's given me a good idea as to why people either struggle a lot or have no problems at all with this course. Stick around throughout the whole video to hear why I think Course 3 kind of separates the pack of students, what I personally found to be the most important knowledge for the exam, and as well as the 3 study tools that I use to help me pass that you can also access as well. Before I get started, if you're curious how long it took me to get through Course 3, it took me around a month to do while working 35 hours a week. So earlier when I said that Course 3 kind of separates the pack, what I meant by that is if up to this point, if you've just been skimming through your modules, not really taking the time to read them in full, no matter how much you use a paid study service, you will most likely fail this exam. The foundational knowledge you learn in this course really gets applied in the exam. For example, in Course 2, you might have gotten a question about what's covered under the first year of possession with the Terry on New Home Warranty coverage. And now in Course 3, you might get a question where someone is demolishing a building, but they're keeping the original foundation, and they have questions in regards to coverage with the Terry on New Home Warranty program. And I know the answer to that question might be kind of easy, but it's just an example of how they switch from more memorized fact-based questions to more situational questions. Since the majority of the questions are situational on this exam, it's really important to have a deep understanding of all topics. There's one that really stuck out to me the most, and that is understanding the relationship between a tenant and a landlord and how the condominium corporation functions alongside them. The majority of the questions that I saw on my exam at least involved the landlord and the tenant. I believe if you have a solid understanding of at least that, you will have no problem with this exam. Now, this type of knowledge is only really learned through reading, and by reading, I don't mean the little sentence that pops up explaining why you got a multiple choice question wrong on Pass It. This is the first time where I've actually gone back to the material after already reading it just to really help me get a better understanding of everything that's going on. Please remember to take this with a grain of salt as well, as everyone has different exam questions. Like some people had 5 math questions on their Course 3 exam. I still have not seen a single math question on any of my exams. And also, for what it's worth, on my Course 2 exam, I probably had 50 not questions. I felt like almost half my exam was not questions. And on Course 3, I probably had 10 questions like that. Course 3 is also the first time I had an issue with Proctor Trap on an exam, but it's through my own fault. I was already being monitored by my proctor, and I was at the point where I was checking for the exam on Humber's website. And when I went to log in, it gave me that message that we've all seen 1,000 times, where it says you've been successfully logged out of your session. Please close your browser to start a new one. And without thinking, I closed my browser and ended my connection to my proctor. So the situation was completely my own fault, but after a 30-minute phone call, I was able to get back on and start my exam. There is a lot of issues with Proctor Trap, and it's really easy to get discouraged when you do have issues, but just work out with them and you'll write your exam in no time. And before I start talking about how I actually studied for the exam, I really want to stress the importance of reading your questions. If you just cruise through the first 2 exams, please slow down and take your time on this one. This exam is full of lengthy questions, some with paragraph-long clauses, and a lot of them like to switch words around like federal and provincial just to trip you up. Not taking the time to read the questions could result in you failing this exam simply because you missed a few keywords and you lost a few marks. It really feels like this exam tests your reading skill almost as much as it tests your real estate knowledge. Now, for studying, there were 3 main tools that I used. The first one I kind of mentioned before, and that was actually going back to the material and reading anything that I had trouble with. Mainly stuck to the summaries of each module because they provide the key concepts that you really need to know after each lesson. As long as you understand those key concepts, you'll have no issues with the exam. And now anyone taking this program could have predicted this, but I did use a paid study service, and that study service was Pass It. I know I kind of talked about Pass It in my last video, so I won't go on too much about them. But one thing I really like with Pass It is that you can group your modules together to take questions from. So the way I was studying is I would do 20 questions from the modules 1, 2, and 3, another 20 from modules 4, 5, and 6, and another 20 from modules 7, 8, and 9. And then at the end of that, I would do 40 questions of the entire course. Of course, the true or false is very helpful. It's nice seeing how many you get right in a row. You can build up a streak and try to break your own record. And I found in this course, I didn't really use the terminology game, but in the other courses, it was very helpful. Pass It also lets you do full mock exams with 115 questions and a 3-hour time limit. And I took advantage of this, and I did 2 mock exams in the 2 days before my actual exam, and my highest Pass It mark was the exact same as my test mark. I decided to use mini cram as well since I never had them. They offer 100 free questions with every course, and I found it to be beneficial, but Pass It I still prefer. And now the third tool that I use that I wish I discovered way before Course 3 is Lisa Mark's audio guide. I found the study guide online after I went back and read the material a second time, and I gotta say, listening to this audio once gave me a better understanding than reading the material twice. Lisa Marks really does a good job of breaking things down and does things throughout the audio like ask questions and then also answers them in detail. Lisa Marks really does a good job of breaking things down and does things throughout the audio like ask questions and then also answers them in detail. So I highly recommend you check her out. Now, if you can do all the things that I just mentioned and really put those resources to work, I can almost guarantee you will pass what some people consider the hardest exam in Humber's real estate course. And of course, I'll be sure to leave links to anything I talked about down below so you can find all those resources there. So yeah, that's about everything from me. Hopefully you found this video useful, and hopefully I'm back again soon. I know I have my Sims 1 coming up at the end of April, so hopefully I'm back again sharing all of my experience with that. Thanks for watching.